All right, so last week we talked a little bit about reading like writers, and that's what we're going to continue to do today, okay? I want you to look up here on the board, and this is our goal for today. It says, if you want to read along with me, you can. We will notice how Molly Bang uses illustrations and text to help us understand how Sophie is feeling and how her feelings change. And if you remember from last week, we read this story when Sophie gets angry, really angry, by Molly Bang. So Molly Bang is our author, for those of you that don't remember, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to go back now that we've read this story once all the way through to get the gist, to figure out what it was all about. We're going to go back now and look at the different ways that Molly Bang uses the illustrations and the text to show us exactly how angry Sophie is and how those feelings change as the book goes on, okay? Before we start, I want to talk about two words, okay? This first word, it's actually a phrase because it has more than one word in it, and it says author's craft, and I want you to do something for me, okay? When you hear the word author's craft, if you've heard that word before, but you're not sure what it means, you're going to hold up one finger, okay? Wait for the directions. If you know what it means and you think you can explain it to us, I want you to hold up two fingers, okay? So remember, one finger means you're not really sure what it means. Two fingers means you can explain what it means to us, okay? So hold up one or two fingers right now. Nice and high where I can see. Okay, if you have two fingers up, that means that you can explain it to us. So anybody with two fingers, I want you to keep your hand up. Andrew, is your hand up? Okay, so Chase, do you want to try to explain what author's craft is?
It's like what the author, what it's about.
Can you tell me more? When you say what it's about, what do you mean?
Like if there was a snake book and they talked about snakes, it would be like a book about snakes.
Well, that's what it's all about. But author's craft is a little bit different. It's what the author does with, like, for example, if it was about snakes, they might use pictures. They might use captions. They might use bold words. Sawyer.
Also, what if you don't know, if you ever heard it?
If you don't know what author's craft is?
No, if you didn't hear it before.
Then that's okay. You know why?
Why?
Because now you've heard it today and we're going to learn about it today. So today's your lucky day. Johnny?
It's right there.
Where do you see it? Want to come up and show us? Ah, he noticed the word craft in this other chart. Good noticing, because we're going to look at this next, okay? Author's craft is all the crafty little techniques that an author uses to get us to understand the story better. And it helps us as readers to help us understand what we're reading, but it also helps us as writers. Because did you know that writers actually borrow ideas from each other? They do. Have you ever borrowed an idea from a writer before? What about when you wrote your ABC books? Remember you looked at the different types of crafts,
Yes.
like the big A or the big B, and then you tried it out in your own writing?
Yeah.
That's what we call author's craft. We look at those different techniques and we use it in our own writing, okay? And that's what we're going to do today. Second word, visualize. Do the same thing. One finger, you're not sure. Two, you can explain what visualize means. Oh, we have more twos this time. So twos, keep your hands up. What does it mean to visualize? Talia?
It means if like the teacher was like saying to like just imagine something in your mind and then when you visualize it, it's like you look at it in your head, but it's not like Woody in like a book. You just like do it by yourself and just pay attention.
And what do you use to make that picture in your mind when you're reading a book?
I forgot.
Who can add on to what Talia said? How do we make that picture in our mind? Madden? I'll give you a clue. Look back at what our objective is. There's two things that we can use to make that picture in our mind. Andrew? Yeah, the illustrations and the text, and that's what we're going to do today, okay? So, right now, I'm going to pull up a page from our story, okay? Alright, so there's our cover. And like I said, we've already read through this once, so we knew what it was all about. What was the story all about? Yeah, and not just a little angry. How angry? Really, really angry. Alright, so we're going to look at that today, okay? And we're going to use this chart to help us, okay? I took this page right from the book that we read last week. And this was the first page that we saw how angry Sophie was. And we're going to read this like writers today. Because we've already read it once like readers. We understand this page is telling us, oh, is Sophie ever angry now? But now we're going to look at it as a writer. And think of the author's craft that Molly Bing used to show us how angry she was. Okay? And there's 3 steps to looking at author's craft. It's up here on the chart, and it's also on this chart over here. Okay? We ask ourselves 3 questions. The first question is,
What
do I see? And I gave you that little eyeball there to help you remember. It's what you see. So we're going to actually look at the pictures and the words, and we'll talk about what we see on the page. Then we're going to ask ourselves, why is the author doing this? Now that's the most important part. It's easy to see what's on the page, but we need to think about how this helps us as readers, so how it helps us understand the story better, and how it can help us in our own writing. So what crafts we might use. And then the last thing is, what do we call the craft? So we need to give it a name. By giving it a name, it'll help us remember the craft because we might actually see it in a different story. And if we notice it in different stories, we might then want to try it in our own work. So by giving it a name, it'll help us remember that. Okay? All right, so let's look at the first page. All right, so we read the text. Oh, is Sophie ever angry now? So let's think about this. And we're going to start with what we see. Remember, we're looking at the way Molly uses the illustrations and text. So let's look at the illustrations first, because that's always the first thing that pops out in my head, right? Especially this page. Really bold picture. So let's look here. What's something that you see that shows us how Sophie is feeling? Give you a few minutes to look at the page. Something you see. So I should see everybody's eyes here. Something that you see on this page that lets us know how Sophie's feeling. There's lots of things. Just try to pick one for right now. Tristan, what do you see?
She's really, really angry.
How do you know? What's something you see on that page?
Angry face.
Can you tell me more about that? Everyone has a face, right? What do you notice about her face that lets you know that she's angry?
And like frowning.
Ah, okay. So I'm going to draw a little line here. She's frowning. Let's stay focused on her face. What else do you see? Laura?
Top of her eyes are like a line.
Can you tell me more about that?
Like her eyes look like a line at the top.
Her eyes or her eyebrows? I see you pointing to your eyebrows.
They look angry.
Her eyebrows or her eyes?
Her eyes.
Her eyes look angry? How can you tell?
Because they're like a line kind of at the top.
Up here?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to come up and show me? I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
It's like up here, it makes her look angry.
Oh, so the eyes are kind of pointing down. Johnny, do you want to add on to that?
She's grunting. Her eyes are grunting.
Grunting? That's an interesting word.
They're like doing that.
Grunting is a sound word.
Oh yeah.
So grunting would be like, ugh.
Yeah.
We can't really hear, and do you make sounds with your eyes?
No.
No, but they are kind of, her eyes are pointing down. Okay, what else? Brooke?
It's kind of hard to see, but her eyebrows are pointing down.
Oh, you remember right from the, yeah, they are. Her eyebrows are pointing down too. Kind of looks like this. Do I look angry?
Yeah. Not really.
What about now?
Not really.
Well, if I change my eyebrows, does it look a little different than if I'm like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell how someone's feeling by looking at their face, right? You know what else I'm noticing? I'm noticing her hair. Notice her ponytail is sticking up. Does your hair normally stick up like that?
No.
Interesting. Chase,
No.
say that again.
I was gonna say what you just said.
Why do you think it's like that?
Cause like when we read the book, like on Wednesday, like her hair sticks out when she's mad, so like that's, but she's not that one, so that's why it's a little up.
So it's showing us that she's a little angry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what do you notice about her, this whole page here? When we're looking at her face, can you see her whole body?
No.
No. You only see her face. Why do you think that is? So we've talked about what we see here. But now let's think about this next part. Why did the author do that? Why do we only see a picture of her face here and not the rest of her body? What do you think, Lucas?
That it's like the face shows, like the face shows the when she's mad, not the body.
So you can see how someone's feeling better if you look closely at their face? Anybody agree with Lucas? Can you tell how somebody's feeling by looking at their face?
Yes.
So what is this showing us? So this is showing us Sophie is feeling
Angry. Really angry.
really angry.
Really.
So what do you think we might call this craft? When we're looking right at her face instead of her whole body. It's kind of reminding me of what you can do with a camera when you want to get a really close picture. What might we call that? Casey? Zooming in. Is this zooming in on her face?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving us a closer look. So let's call it zooming in. Zooming in on character's face. You can definitely tell if someone's feeling just by looking at their face.
Me?
There's one other thing I noticed here about the background. Jonathan?
Red is an angry color, and that's what the color background is.
There's a red background.
Red background.
And has anybody else heard of red being an angry color?
Yes.
How did you know that, Jonathan?
Because on Wednesday, that book,
This book or a different book?
a different book, it had red, as the background,
And what did that show you?
that she's angry.
So you're already making a connection to another story where you saw that color. So red background shows us an angry feeling. And what might we call that? So we said this craft was zooming in. This craft was zooming in, right? What's the background? What might we call that? That red background specifically. Red is a... Well, is red always angry?
No.
What do we... Red, purple, blue, those are all what? Colors, right? So could we say they're using... I'm going to call it a color tone, okay? Because the tone is the feeling that you get from reading, okay? So the tone is that feeling. And does that red background give us a feeling?
Yes.
And what's that feeling?
Angry.
Angry. Okay, here's what we're going to do now, okay? We're going to move to the next page. And we did this all together. And we're still going to do the next page together. But this time I'm going to ask you to do a little bit more of the work, okay? You're going to work with a partner, and we're going to look at the next page together, and we'll talk about what we see, why the author did that, okay? And then we'll talk about names and all of that stuff later. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to give you a partner, and then I'm going to ask you to go to your seats, and then we'll show the next page. Okay? So you're going to wait for the partner first. Okay. Laura and Austin. So Laura and Austin, stand up. Okay, and then I'm going to have you go to your table. Okay, go ahead. Casey and Johnny. Oh, Laura, I need you to sit with Austin because you're his partner.
Hey, we have the microphone.
Talia and Sawyer. Ashlyn and Andrew. Madden and Ricky.
Who's Madden and Ricky?
Brooke and Macklin.
Who's broken Macklin?
Maddie and Chase.
Who's Madden and Chase?
Olivia and Jonathan.
Who's Olivia and Jonathan?
And then we have a group of three. Angela, Lucas, and Tristan.
Angela, Lucas, and Tristan.
You guys can go to
Who
this.
are they?
Do you want a chair or do you want to stand up?
Wait, who's that?
Standing up's okay?
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know.
Alright, I'm just going to take a really quick picture of this and then we'll move on to the next.
And I think people forgot to set. So I don't know who's absent. I really like. Well, like a phone. Maybe Ella's my absent. Ella's absent, I think. Is Ella here or not? It's not blue.
Okay, I see Brooke and Macklin are ready. I see Chase and Maddie are ready. Okay, now we're going to look at this next page. Okay? So I should see everybody's eyes up here. This time you're going to do some talking together before we talk to the whole group. Okay? What you're going to do for right now is I want you to just notice what you see on the page. Okay? And what are the two things we might notice on the page? Going back to our objective? Illustrations and text. So what we see in the picture and what we read here in the words to show us that Sophie's very angry. And this time I want you to think about, is she just a little angry? Or is she getting angrier? Okay, because the other day when we read this book, we noticed that her feelings changed. And she got angrier, right, Angela? As we read through the book. So I want you to think about that after we notice. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a choice here. If you want, when you and your partner are talking, if you want to write down the things that you see, I have some sticky notes here for you to use. Okay? You do not have to write if you don't want to. You can just talk about it. But here's the rule for writing. Okay? I want you to write one thing on each sticky. Okay? So like on the last page that we just looked at, I might write red background. Background. Okay? Johnny, because that's what I noticed. Okay? And then if I notice something else, like the zooming in on her face, I would write that on a different sticky note. Okay? Who has a question about that? Maddie?
What if, do you just like it, do you get to come to us when you need, when like we need another one?
I'm going to leave a stack at every table. That's a good question. Okay? So there should be enough. And if you need more, you can raise your hand and always you can ask me. Okay? I'll also leave some at the round table, so if you do run out, then you can use that. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a clue. Okay? When it's time to go, about how many things I think you might see. And that'll let you know how many sticky notes you might need. But do you have to write it on a sticky note? No. If you want, you and your partner can just talk about it together. Okay? All right, so let's look at this page together. So all eyes up here. We're going to read the whole page to get the gist of what's happening, and then it'll be your turn to talk. She kicks. She screams. She wants to smash the world to smithereens. Smithereens, that's a pretty big word.
I know what that means.
Right now, I want you to talk to your partner. What do you think that word smithereens means? Angela's talking to you. I think she has something important to say. What did you just say, Angela? What did you just say? Just repeat what you did. Well, hold on. I noticed you two are talking, but she's your third partner. So what might you need to do? What do you think, Lucas? Do you think you two facing each other is helping Angela be part of the conversation? So Lucas, what can you do to make Angela part of the conversation? Can you show me where you might stand to make it easier for her to hear what you're saying? Maybe let's do this. If you want to stand, that's fine with me, but I want you to make sure that they're all facing each other. There we go. Okay, now I want you to talk about what you think the word smithereens means.
I know.
Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to share. Quiet thumbs up. Sawyer, what do you think the word smithereens means?
It means you're breaking the world into little pieces.
How did you and Talia figure that out? How'd you figure that out? Take a look back into the book. Is there something you saw there or that we read that helped you figure out that smithereens means little pieces?
Like the word smash is in little pieces.
The word smash is in tiny little pieces.
Huh.
Who else noticed that?
Me.
Oh, okay, all right, so that's what we're going to do right now. You're looking at the picture, and you're noticing what you see in the picture and what you see in the words that lets us know that Sophie is really, really angry. All right, and I'm going to come around with the sticky notes if you want to use them.
My hand hurts.
And as soon as you get them, I want you to take a look. I see about maybe 5 different things on this page that's letting me know that Sophie is angry. Okay? So I want you to see if you can find 5 different things that shows that Sophie is angry. Okay?
Look what I found in the Bible. Wait, these are stick together.
So you can unstick them.
Okay,
Okay, if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Okay? I'm going to give one more direction. Nothing else should be on your desk except for your sticky note if you need it. Remember, you're working together with a partner. So what would it sound like if you're talking with a partner? Because it's really quiet in here right now. What would it sound like if you and your partner are talking to each other? Not gonna need you to wait and listen.
yell on top.
Ricky? If you're talking, it's quiet? I think it's the opposite of quiet. Yeah, it might be a little loud in here. So I should hear, Jonathan, I should hear you talking before you write anything down. Okay? So a good idea would be to put your pencil down. If you have a sticky note, that should be flat on the table. And I should see you sitting in a way that you're facing your partner so that you can talk. So if you're not in a position to talk to your partner, I want you to get in that position now. So I see Andrew, he's moving his chair so he can face Ashlyn. I noticed Madden moved her chair too. Now Brooke and Macklin are already facing each other, so do they have to move?
No.
No. Okay? Right now you should be facing your partner. Jonathan, we're not writing yet. Okay? So what I want you to do is, once you notice something, for example, if you want to write, you notice a red shadow, you're going to tell each other that, and then only one of you needs to do the writing. Okay? So we're talking first, then we're doing the writing. Who has a question about what you need to do? Chase? So what are we doing first? Listening and telling each other. And then what's the second thing? Writing. Okay, so we're listening and talking and then writing. Okay, go ahead.
I don't want to write. It says she wants to smash the whole world.
So you're noticing the text? It says smash.
Because the text.
What do you think about that, Johnny? When you say mm-hmm, what does that mean?
Yes.
Why do you think that? I want you to look at your partner.
Because the word smash is in tiny pieces.
So, but why is Smash telling you that she's angry?
Because she's she stomped and... Oh, penguins! 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 I love you, penguins. Alright, write it down. Write it on me.
Give me 1 second, guys. The screensaver keeps going on, so keep talking if you don't need the picture.
Just write on me. No. Write on me. No, you write then. You write. Smithereens, 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 smithereens. At least I'm supposed to get over there. Okay, how do I fill a shadow?
What did you guys talk about so far?
She looks red in the background.
So what does that tell you?
She's angry.
How do you know?
Why is everybody always steal what I'm thinking? I mean, like, I don't get it. Everything that I'm thinking, like, somebody said this and this. Means has an N at the back. It goes, no.
Do you think she's angry like she was on the other
Means
hand?
is
Or feeling a little bit different?
M-E-N-Z-S. No, that would be men's. Men's? Then let's just I know it. Which back is like, I'm going to break my desk to this little piece.
So is she less angry or more? See if you notice something else, so when Olivia comes back, you have something else to say.
Kinder than me?
Okay, what are we talking about here?
I noticed the word smash is in the
What do you think about that, Andrew? Use your words.
I wrote the red shadow.
Well, we're talking about Ashlyn's idea.
That smithereens really means more. When you're happy, you don't stop.
So you think smithereens means small pieces smaller than you could ever imagine? So going back to what Ashlyn said, how do you know that means she's angry?
We can tell because she's stopping. You're not. When you're happy, you don't stop.
It looked like you were kind of acting it out over
So
here.
we do that. That she wants to do this. Then we're not going to do that. She wants to pretend she's a giant and smashing everything.
So, like a smashing giant? Do you usually smash things when you're happy?
No, let's do that.
Alright, so you want to write that down and add that to your stickies?
Unless you want to just be funny.
Well, true, but in this case, how is she acting?
Write that bad.
Okay, so let me see you write that other thing down.
Wait, we have 60 now. Smithereens means into pieces, and then he's doing another one.
Okay, you're doing it together?
Why?
Okay, what are you doing, Chase?
When you're angry, you stop. I got this one.
Okay, it looks like she's stomping in the picture.
Yeah.
All right.
How do we spell win again? Win.
Angelo,
Win.
are you writing together?
Okay.
Remember, you only need one sticky note. So I should only see one sticky note that says Big Shadow. Okay? Who wrote this first one?
Me.
You, okay. So then maybe if Lucas wants to write next, he can. And then Angela, maybe you can write the third thing. Okay? Because you only need one of each. So I'll take that. All right, you have one. A red big shadow. Okay?
That's mine.
So what's the other thing you noticed? What's something else you noticed, Lucas?
No. I know what he was talking about.
What?
A cat was scared.
Oh, the cat looks scared. Okay, so you can write that down, and now I want you to talk about how the cat is letting you know how she's feeling. How is the cat being scared letting you know that she's angry?
It looks like the fur is a little sticking up.
So why would the cat, though, help you know that she's angry?
somebody's angry, somebody else is like a little scared.
Oh, so sometimes somebody can be so angry that it might make you a little scared. Oh, interesting point. All right, you can write that down. How are you doing here? What do you have so far? Can you use your words? Okay, let's stop there. Sophie is stomping. Austin, how does that let you know that she's angry?
She's stomping with she's hot.
So how do you know that means she's angry?
Because she's scared. Shannon who's on the leg and stomping. The word frightened is in spiky.
The word smash looks a little spiky? Yeah. Why?
Because she's mad.
How do you know that smash means mad, Laura? How do you know that smash means mad?
She's got Angela's mind.
Really mad. And is she as mad as she was on the other page? Why do you think she's madder? Even more mad?
The cat right ow. What is that word? Wait, I have to write it. What is that word?
So the words here are letting you know that she's a little bit angrier? All right, nice job. Keep going.
Is pointing up. Yeah, that's what makes me scared. Yeah, cats scared like that. That's how they get scared. That's 4. I wrote 4. And yeah, at the end of it. Yeah, so it's you. It's a you. 4. I don't know how to write that.
Is that what you were up? Oh, all right, next time you can just ask me.
Okay.
Okay, if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Okay, now it's time to share.
I've got 6 times.
Okay?
I can really hear.
I'm going to wait until everybody's ready to listen. I have a question. Is it easier for them to share at their seats? Will you be able to hear them better? Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want you and your partner right now to look at all the sticky notes that you have, because I noticed some people have 3, some have 2, some might even have 4, okay?
Okay.
What I want you to do right now, so pencils are down. Everyone's eyes should be here so they can hear the directions. What you've just done, and don't worry if you didn't get a chance to write it down, because the talking was what I really wanted to hear, okay? So what you have right now on your sticky notes is evidence. Because I asked you to tell me what you saw in the pictures and words that helps you know Sophie is angry. So what you've done on your sticky notes is you've collected evidence that shows me how you know that Sophie's angry. So I want you and your partner to look at your evidence, and I want you to pick what you think is the best piece of evidence. So you just need one sticky note. Take a look at your stickies, and I want you to pick one. And when you have your one sticky that you want to share, you're going to hold it up in the air. And you need to decide together. So, wait. Give me 5.
I think I should choose 2.
Give me 5. Austin. Andrew. I'm noticing something here. This is a group, so hands down. I want everyone looking here at Maddie and Chase. I told you I want every group to pick one piece of evidence, but look. How many do they have? 2. So what are they going to have to do before they hold up a sticky note? Lucas? They're going to have to agree. So 1 sticky note per group. Okay, and when you have one, I should see one up in the air.
This one makes more sense. This one. Well, it makes more sense, but this is more rated D. So people in the shop. It's my watch. But
Okay, then you can just hold it.
no, we have to agree. I want the watch. Okay, I don't want that. Put a new watch. Hey, my watch fell off. Andrew, can you help us out? Which one do you want? Hey, why don't this one or this one? When you what? When you stop, it shows that
It's okay if you didn't get to finish it right. What I want you to do is decide which one piece of evidence you want to share.
And I wrote, smithereens means you want to break it into.
I know that Sophie's mad because the word
Chaser.
what?
Do you want me to help you? No. Do you want me to help you? Here, let me see chases. Here, let me see both of yours. Let me see chases. No. Whoever. Chase. Let Ashley. I think chases. Fine. Mine doesn't even make sense. Hey, look.
Okay. I see Andrew has his sticky ready to share. I see Chase is ready. Did this group make a decision?
I don't want to do that one. I want to do that. And I don't want to do that one.
Oh, okay. So let's help these guys out over here. So I want everyone to put their stickies down for a second. Who had to make a decision with their partners today? Who had to decide, well, maybe I'm going to let my partner use their idea, or we're going to use my idea. How did you agree? I heard you say before that you need to agree on which sticky note you're going to choose. Does anybody share with the groups over here to help us decide how we can do that? Talia?
I forgot.
Well, what do you think they could do?
Talk about what, like, just look at the picture and, like, talk about it and then get some ideas and write it down on their paper and then they, like, say one of the ideas and then, like, just talk about it.
So you think they should talk about their ideas first?
Yes.
Did you guys talk about it first?
Yes.
Yes, and you still can't decide?
Well,
Did you talk about it?
well, they choose which one was better when we read it to them, and they said mine 2 times.
Oh, that's interesting. So Chase's group decided they couldn't decide between the 2 of them, so they asked another group to help them, and the other group picked one for them, kind of like a tiebreaker, right? When you can't decide, you have 2. Does everybody have really good ideas to share?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Right, so I'll give you 30 seconds to make a choice. So you can either decide between the 2 of you or do what Chase's group did and ask for an outside
The word
judge.
smash is in pieces.
She's mad.
Good.
Are you talking about what your
Does
group
not
is
feel
doing?
good.
Okay, focus on what your group is going to share.
This is a weird one. Okay. Yeah. Let's go ask Ricky's. This one. Chase, let's go ask Ricky's. No, we already did. Oh, yes. Yeah, and
Well, I think you guys already got your opinion, okay? So you're good. Okay, you can hear me clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Okay. Okay, it looks like we have some decisions here. You can put your sticky notes down. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. So our goal today was to look at how Molly Bang uses illustrations and text to help us understand how Sophie is feeling. And we all agree Sophie is feeling Angry. Oh, I can even see it in some of your faces. So, and I see some of you are even acting out this page. Now, 1 second. We'll let everybody act it out in a minute. Macklin. How were you able to figure out how to act that out, Andrew?
What?
How were you able to figure out how to act out this page?
Because I could see.
I'm going to wait until everybody's listening to Andrew. Okay? And tell us what you were doing. Or you can show us.
Smashing my own desk. Smash.
And how does that let you know she's angry?
That. I don't know.
I think you said it over there before. You compared how she was smashing something in the book to something else that you know. Johnny, I need you sitting. You said she was smashing something like what?
Smaller than you can imagine?
Yeah, you said that smithereens meant into pieces smaller than you could even imagine. And I think you said that it was almost like a giant. Like a big, angry giant might smash things, right? So without banging on your desk, let's look back at the text here, right? She kicks, she screams, she wants to smash the world to smithereens. So without banging on your desk, show me what that might look like. Oh my goodness! All right. You all look pretty angry. Now you're kind of scaring me, so get ourselves back to those happy first graders. I'll wait until you're ready. I see Madden's ready. I see Sawyer and Casey are ready. Talia's ready. Now that was a fun one to act out, right? Because we use those words. And when you're happy, do you usually smash things?
No.
Do you usually kick and scream when you're happy? No.
Unless you just want to.
What we're going to do is I'm going to let you guys share your noticings the next time we look back at this book. Okay? Jonathan, I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to share their evidence. We've already talked a little bit about it together. Okay? I want everybody's eyes up here. I have one last question. Okay? Is Sophie more angry, less angry, or the same as she was on the other page? Okay, and we're going to flip back to that really quickly. So remember, when we first found out she was angry, this is what we saw. Johnny, you don't need a pencil right now. And now we see this. I want you to talk with your partner really quickly. Is she feeling the same? Is she more angry or is she less angry? And why?
But this page now wants to smash the one with
Okay. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Oh, it took 3 claps that time. Okay. So we'll do a little vote. Who thinks she's more angry on this page?
Everybody is, I think.
Oh, I think it's unanimous. That means you all agree. who can tell me why she's more angry now? Madden.
I'm trying to spell it. I don't want to say, you know.
Fourth page, he was kind of like just random. But on the second page, the page we're on right now, she wants to smash the wall into 10 pieces.
So how does that let you know she's more angry?
Because she's even angrier.
Because now she wants to smash things?
Yes. And
Oh.
she's screaming and stomping.
Screaming and stomping. That definitely looks a little bit different than just standing and frowning, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how did using the pictures and words help you today? Who can tell me? That was our goal. How did using the pictures and words help you all figure that out? Who can tell me? It's our last question for the day, and then I'm going to collect your stickies. You all raised your hand for that last question and said that she was more angry. So how did those pictures and words help you figure that out? Olivia?
She's stomping.
So it told you some of the actions she was using.
I'll show you something.
Kicking, wanting to smash. We could see in the picture she was stomping, right? Anybody want to add on to what Olivia said? Ricky? Can you tell me what doing this means?
Like smashing stuff, like do.
So her actions are showing you that, right? Okay. So tomorrow, we're going to go back to this page that we've looked at together. We're going to share what you and your partners talked about. And then, just like Jonathan did earlier in the lesson, Jonathan made a connection to another book where he saw an author use the same craft. So tomorrow, we're going to actually look at 2 different books. And we're going to see if we notice the same things. So we're going to use what we learned today about using the illustrations in text. Boys, we're using what we did today, using the illustrations in text, to notice how other authors show us a character is angry.
Casey.
And we're going to notice if it's the same or if it's different. Okay? So what I'd like you to do right now is gather up all your sticky notes and then we'll save them for tomorrow. Okay? Come meet me on the road.